Imagine working day in and day out to build your own brand or personal company, and you do so to the point of such success that you're making millions of dollars off this brand, as well as personally garnering that kind of attention to your social media platforms to numbers upwards of 1 million followers. That's the situation that many Division I collegiate athletes find themselves in after becoming incredible talents in the billion-dollar sports industry. The NCAA, or National Collegiate Athletic Association, rakes in over $1 billion of revenue each year, according to financial statements from the organization. And on top of that, the average university makes around $31 million a year from their football programs alone, according to Business Insider. Yet with an industry so booming, you would expect the entertainers or athletes that bring in that kind of money would be compensated in some way, right? No, the NCAA actually makes extremely strict regulations against the athletes of these sports making any kind of profit off of their talents. Despite some athletes coming from poverty and in need of some kind of financial income, or some that could already be making millions of dollars from their publicity, or others who are rushing to the pros for money only to get hurt too quickly, it becomes extremely apparent that collegiate athletes should have some form of profit off of their own skills. At the very least, student athletes should be able to seek their own endorsement deals with the press and publicity they gain from their own talents. The amount of money created in collegiate sports market is unfairly taken away from them when the money could be used well in their hands. In a study done by the National College Player Association in 2013, it was found that an estimated 86% of college athletes were living below the poverty line. With players paying personal expenses up to $3,000 a year for going to school, many elite athletes struggle greatly with financing, despite promising futures for many. With so many elite level athletes living at an unacceptably low economic standpoint, change should be made and brought about so that these athletes, who along with their teammates that also bring in potentially millions of dollars to their programs, can have some form of income to survive the day-to-day. Some collegiate athletes, however, are already famous before turning professional. Young phenomenons such as Zion Williamson of Duke basketball and Joe Burrow of LSU football have already made their mark in the sporting world before even stepping foot in the professional sphere. Zion, a viral dunking sensation in high school, in his single year at Duke, brought over 300,000 Instagram followers to the Duke Blue Devils Instagram account. The Duke basketball Instagram has a monetary value of $5.1 million, according to Forbes, and Zion's personal Instagram has far more followers. Joe Burrow, the all-star quarterback from Louisiana State University, is another great example. As a phenomenal talent that helped bring a national championship to Louisiana, Fansided.com reported that Joe is worth around $3.7 million to the Tiger organization. As a team who made more than $80 million in the last season, it's no surprise that Joe would be worth a small portion of that money. These young adults are at the cusp of being one of the greatest athletes of their generation, with millions of fans following every step they take. Yet because of the NCAA viewing them as amateurs, they can't take a single cent of profit for themselves until they're old enough to go pro, when in reality they could already be making millions of dollars off advertising deals alone. Not only do many athletes waste valuable time with their talents by spending years unpaid in college, they're putting their whole career at risk doing so as well. The more time that athletes play in college, the higher the risk of injuries go, and especially for sports like football, injury could happen at any moment. The time that players have healthy can sometimes be limited, so when top-ranked athletes have to waste their time and talents not getting paid due to their amateur status, it can be extremely frustrating for them. Allowing athletes to have some kind of income for their athletics would not only allow them to have peace of mind in case of injury, it would encourage the athletes to stay in the NCAA longer in order to perfect their craft before declaring for the professional draft. The college sports scene would probably become more competitive, and the athletes would be happier playing the sport, knowing there's less rush to make it out of school. College athletics is a great thing with a lot of important benefits, but when athletes that make the billion-dollar industry so successful aren't properly supported, it makes the system seem far more corrupt. Allowing athletes to simply make money on their own terms through advertising deals, Instagram ads, or receiving some sort of profit that the university makes from their own sports advertising, would encourage athletes to stay in college longer, gaining an education and the peace of mind that they'll be able to make money off of their talents before the decision to go pro comes up. Not only would we as college students be able to watch more competitive sporting events at our schools, allowing this rule to change wouldn't even affect schools' tuition rates due to athletics being able to figure out their own income deals with companies. This would simply open the doors for athletes to make their own marketing and advertising decisions, and the schools wouldn't pay the students themselves. The college sports world would become more competitive, and the athletes would be far more motivated to keep working hard under NCAA rules. After all, if you had $1 million enterprise, wouldn't you want to be able to reap those benefits?